Hi, welcome to another Urban Outdoorsman SoCal video. My name is Danny Milton, and today we're going to be talking about the Mavic Air 2. So today we're going to be talking about the Mavic Air 2, and I've done a bunch of videos on the Mavic Air 2 in regards to the ActiveTrack. But the problem I'm having is some people, people will come across my videos and they'll see just one of the videos that I've done. And let's say like it's on trace mode or something, or just a regular ActiveTrack. If they've seen one of the videos I've done with the drone in sport mode, they're like, oh, well, you don't have to worry about hitting stuff if you have it in ActiveTrack. So I wanted to do this video to kind of clear up some of those problems or questions people are having. So basically, whenever you're flying the drone, you have the three flight modes. You have tripod, normal, and sport. Now, tripod is going to be the safest, and that's where I would, recommend anybody who's new to flying a drone. If you're really scared about crashing into something, put your drone into tripod mode. It will not move very quickly at all. At max, it's going to go 3 or 4 miles per hour. Even if you're, full stick flying it towards something, you'll have time to stop. Normal mode is going to be anywhere from obviously 0 up to 16, maybe into the high 20s, depending on what type of tracking mode you're using. And then sport mode is just, all the sensors are turned off. You are 0 to full speed, which is like 42, 43 miles per hour. Now, you don't have any collision sensors turned on, so if you are flying, you have to be very careful in sport mode. Also, when you're using the tracking mode, you can have the drone tracking you autonomously, meaning that you don't have to touch anything on the controller. Once you lock onto yourself, the drone will follow you wherever you go without you having to actually look at the controller or do anything with the sticks and control the drone. It will fly around objects, it'll fly under objects, it'll fly over objects, it'll go around trees, bushes, hopefully buildings. Now, when it comes to tracking modes, if you're using ActiveTrack, which is basically what this video is about, you have a couple of different choices. Now, obviously you can do ActiveTrack in tripod in normal. Basically, the drone is going to lock onto you and it's going to follow you wherever you go. Let's say you're going to be in your normal flight mode and you're going to use ActiveTrack. You're either going to use trace or parallel. Those are your two choices in ActiveTrack. So when you're in normal mode and you're using ActiveTrack, and that's where I do the most of my drone flying, is in ActiveTrack in normal mode, because I want all of the sensors to be turned on. I don't have to worry about it crashing into a light pole or a tree or a bush. I've done several videos on my mountain bike using ActiveTrack in trace and parallel out in the woods, and you can click on that link right there if you want to watch that video. Now, trace and parallel are going to be limited to a top speed. If you're walking or riding a bike, trace mode is going to top out at about 16, 17 miles per hour. If you're using parallel mode and you're walking or riding, it still only tops out at about 17, 18 miles per hour, give or take. But if you're in a vehicle, and I'm going to show you what that looks like on your screen, if you're in a vehicle, trace mode will actually track you going faster. It will track you up into the high 20s. Now, that's something that's in the software. When you lock onto yourself, you're going to see a little icon down at the bottom in that green square. It's either going to look like a person or it's going to look like a vehicle. Now, if you want to move into another autonomous mode is POI. And basically what that's going to do, it's going to lock onto you if you're walking or you're riding a bike or if you're in a vehicle, and it's basically going to circle you, point of interest, right? And you can change how fast it does that circle mode. I did some of that active tracking in the POI mode out in the desert, and you can click on that link right there. Now, if you want to fly the drone yourself manually and you still want to use ActiveTrack, the best way to do that in normal mode or sport mode, spotlight mode is going to lock onto your subject. It's going to keep your subject center frame no matter where you fly the drone. I did some spotlight tracking out in the desert as well in my vehicle, and you can click that link right there. Basically what it was is, wherever you move the drone, it's always going to keep your subject that you're locked onto center frame. So you can fly high and it's going to look down automatically. You can fly out to the right. It's still going to keep your truck, center frame, or your mountain bike, whatever. But you are going to have to make those controls yourself. If you're not, like, say if you're chasing something and you stop flying, like if you don't just let go of the sticks, eventually your subject is just going to go out of frame and it'll lose tracking. So you do have to keep up with your subject if you're using that spotlight mode. So when you are in tripod mode and normal mode, you have all of your sensors turned on. You can have all of your sensors turned on. And that's basically gonna fly you around. The drone will automatically fly around light poles and trees and bushes and buildings and cars and whatever. It's gonna do all of that stuff automatically. Once you move into sport mode, all of those collision sensors are turned off. The sensors are still working, and while you're flying the drone, if you get close to something, you're gonna hear it beeping because it's gonna tell you like a proximity alert, but it will not move away from that, you know, away from that light post or that tree. It'll just keep flying and tracking you. So that's something that you have to take into consideration. That's why I did those sport mode tests out in the desert. So I didn't have to worry about anything taller than maybe like a bush about 8 feet tall. There's no trees, there's no power lines, there's nothing like that. So I could be in sport mode and have the drone following me and not have to worry about it crashing. So if you want to stay safe and you want to keep your drone safe and have the highest chance of it not crashing, you're going to keep it in tripod or normal mode, and you're going to keep it in ActiveTrack so that the drone can move away from those things all by itself. It does a really good job. Like I did a video at the beach where I was trying to fly the drone into a sandhill, and it literally just cruised right up over the top of it. Tried to fly towards some palm trees, and the drone, without me even touching it, I was just pushing forward on the controller. It flew right around that palm tree and kept going. So the drone is really amazing as far as it comes to the tracking and avoiding obstacles. You know, the video that I did here, people were freaking out because it was getting really close to the light poles. It wasn't even, it looks closer than it is on video. It did come close a couple times, at least it looks like it comes close, but trust me, that drone was still 4 or 5 feet away from those light posts, but it was also moving away from them a couple times. So, and then one time we were driving straight towards it and it was going right at that light post, and it stopped all by itself. I was driving in the truck, it stopped all by itself. I wasn't holding the remote or anything like that. So the drone's gonna do a really good job at avoiding obstacles. You just have to let it do the job. Like I said, I've done a bunch of testing with this drone. I've tested it walking through the park, on my mountain bike, in the vehicle, here at the park, out in the desert, you know, out in the woods, and all that stuff. If you want to see any of those videos, click on that playlist right there. I've done a bunch, and I'm just trying to help you guys out and to show you what this drone is capable of. All right, so hopefully this video will help you. Hopefully it'll show you some instances using ActiveTrack. These are just my results. I'm not a professional. I'm not paid by DJI. I just use these drones a lot in a lot of the videos that I do. If you have any questions, please leave those in the comments down below. I usually answer questions within a day, you know, pops up on my phone, and you know, my channel's not big enough to where I'm getting too many questions, but I do really appreciate the comments and the questions. I really like getting back to you guys and helping you out as much as I can. Just on that note too, I really want to thank all of you guys that have subscribed to the channel. We're over 2,500 right now, and the channel's still growing. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button, sharing, commenting. If you're new to the channel, please think about subscribing. I really appreciate it. Once you subscribe, make sure you click that bell icon so that you do get notified of any upcoming videos that are coming out. One other thing I want to let you guys know is my son came to help me today, and to get him to do this, I actually told him that I would give him 25% of the earnings that I make from this video. So if you guys want to help out Derek as well, hit those like buttons, share it, comment, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff, and he's making more money. All right, thanks a lot. So the last way you can help support the channel would be to click on one of the boxes in the corners. One will take you to the Mavic Air 2 playlist, another to a favorite video, and you can click that logo over there, the Urban Outdoorsman SoCal logo, to subscribe. Thanks a lot.